Hello, and welcome to another episode number 6 of the Human Condition Podcast. I'm your host, American Council and Exercise Certified Personal Trainer, Kerry Jones. Now, this episode is going to be a little bit off. It is not going to be how I wanted the episodes to always be going forward based on the things that I've said in videos prior, because somebody, and I'm not going to name names or point fingers, me, messed up my content posting schedule. Something posted before it was supposed to. I missed a post here. I missed an entire week and tried to play catch up there, and I just ended up messing up myself pretty bad. So this is going to be a filler episode in order to keep me on track with the podcasts, but that's not to say it's not going to have relevant information. It's just not going to go in depth or stay on one or two topics as much as prior episodes have, and hopefully future episodes will. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, if you have been following my social media or you've seen my social media, you may have seen a post that said, "The Human Condition is conducting research on blah, blah, blah." And what this is a Google form, and it takes probably 3 minutes to fill out. And the purpose of this is so that I can see what people's thoughts and opinions are on online health and fitness content, or trainers, their current behaviors and barriers as it relates to health and fitness and their journey on this path. The hope is that as more responses come in, I can use this data to then tailor what I provide to either clients or through my content so that it is more relevant. I'm not going to know what's needed unless I ask, so I'm asking. And this is just to benefit other people. With that being said, when I say benefiting other people, this data will also be made available to any health and fitness professional that asks me for it, because I'm not going to gatekeep something that's a net positive for people. I'm in this to help others. That includes other trainers. I'm not going to use the data that comes out of this to become some the top dog, That's not me. So if you're a health and fitness professional and you're listening to this and you want that data, please just send me an email at thehumanconditioned@gmail.com. At this point, there's only 2 responses, so the data is not going to be very beneficial for you or me. So I will make sure that it is transparent when I have enough data that people can work off of. The next thing that I would like to discuss is books. Now, the human body is so complicated and so complex, and I get very spun up, nerdy, and down rabbit holes about biology and physiology and all that stuff all the time. So the books that I have read help contribute to my knowledge of the human body and different avenues that people can choose to improve their own health and fitness, myself included. So the first book that I started and finished this year was Winter Swimming by Dr. Susana S. And this book is a basic understanding of the concept of winter swimming, or going swimming in a body of water in the winter. I believe this was written while she was starting to and conducting her PhD research on the topic of cold exposure. But winter swimming was so interesting to me personally that upon conclusion of reading this book, I wanted to find a body of water in winter in New York to go swimming in. But I have yet to ask around in my social group to see if anybody would do that with me, because you should never go winter swimming alone, because you will drown. Or you might drown. I don't know. But it is intriguing to me that there are so many health benefits that come along with just dipping your body into freezing cold water. Now, she has since concluded her PhD research, and I don't know if there's a continuation of it or if it's branching off into different types of research, but either way, she has come up with something that she calls the Thermalist Method. Online, she has the Thermalist Method instructor and Thermalist Method at home courses. I would love to take them. They're just a little out of my price range at this moment, but I will be keeping it in the back of my mind for when I become, rich and famous. So, with the conclusion of her study, she has also written a book called Thermalist, and this is about her Thermalist method. However, it has not been translated into English yet, so I am still waiting for that, and once it does, I will be buying it, and I will be reading it. The next book that I started and finished was the Wim Hof Method, and I am sure that you've heard of Wim Hof. He's the guy that does the breathing exercises, or he's known as the Iceman, or he's known as the guy who climbed a mountain in just shorts and no shirt. Along with a bunch of other things that I didn't even know he was famous for until I read this book. But his method, also another very simple, very basic concept with a myriad of health benefits. And I should mention that neither of these methods, the Thermalist method or the Wim Hof method, are pharmacological in nature. You're not putting things into your body that are a synthetic, mass-produced, whatever. I have my thoughts and opinions about the pharmaceutical industry. That's not for this video, podcast, whatever. The Wim Hof method focuses on cold exposure, breath, and the mind. And I don't want to go into detail specifically about what that means, but it's basically encouraging taking a cold shower, following these breathing exercises, and then really fortifying your mind and basically changing your attitude towards life in general. And again, like I said, it has so many health benefits, and in the book it states that people have done this method when they were combating cancer. They reverse metabolic conditions with this. Famous athletes have used this to improve their performance output, among so many other things. And it blows my mind that such a simple thing had such a big impact. So much so that I would like to try to work it into my daily practice in order to see, what changes I can notice. So that's the second book. The third book that I just started last night, and I say this because I read before bed, so the pace at which I read changes. I can either get through a whole chapter, I can get through 2 sentences. It's hit or miss. But I started reading Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker. And I've known that the importance of sleep has been being researched and put more into the limelight in recent years. But my early 20s, and I don't know if this is still prevalent in people, was rise and grind. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I got to get up before the other guy. Waking up early means you're more successful, blah, blah, blah. It turns out that that's not necessarily true. It turns out we need a certain amount of sleep. And the book, and I haven't, obviously, like I said, I just started it last night. I'm not that far into it, so I can't really give my opinion about what it says. But what I can say is that I heard Dr. Matthew talking on a Dr. Matthew Walker, sorry, we're not friends, talking on a podcast about the importance of sleep and his research leading into it. And that made me want to buy this book because I like having that deeper understanding of the concept, not only so that way I can explain to you why, tell you why it's important, but also for my own knowledge in terms of my own health and fitness, because I have poor sleep hygiene. It takes a considerable amount of determination for me to follow a good sleep hygiene regimen. So I think that if I can give myself the knowledge about why it's important and all the impacts and the additional health benefits in improving this, that, and the third, that I might better be able to follow proper sleep hygiene, justify it in my own brain. So those are the books I have read and or am reading. If you have any recommendations, you can send it to me, book recommendations or questions, whatever. If you want to talk to me, you can send me an email. You can send me a message on social media. You can comment on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Amazon Music, and TikTok. I have a TikTok. I don't know how long I'll have a TikTok at this point, but I have one. So, yeah, the final thing that I want to talk about is health and fitness apps. And I was scrolling one night and I came across this ad that basically was touting, spend 15 minutes doing exercise using this app a day and you'll reach your health and fitness goals or whatever. And I thought, that's way too good to be true. I know that's way too good to be true. So I had this idea that I would then anytime, maybe not anytime, when I see health and fitness apps in either ads or that are becoming popular or that a lot of people are talking about, what I want to do is try to download it and then either use the free trial or the free features that it will give you without a subscription, and then tell you guys what my opinion is on it and whether it is useful and whether you should, I'm not going to tell you to pay for it, but whether it would be beneficial to pay for it or not. So the first app that I want to cover, and I'm going to try to keep this short, is the app that I saw was BetterMe. And I immediately went and downloaded it so that I could check out what it was all about. And what it does is it asks you initially a bunch of questions, kind of like a quiz about your current behaviors, your goals, what your interests are in terms of how you want to approach your health and fitness. And then from that, it gives you a timeline, what the app tells you, how long it will take you to get to the goal that you told the app you wanted. And then immediately it hits a paywall. So you've gone through this whole quiz and now you're at a paywall. However, I found out that you can actually exit out of this paywall and now you're at your dashboard. And the dashboard has a fasting timer for intermittent fasting, which is customizable. And you can have it notify you when to stop and start eating. You can track your water. You can track your exercises. You can track your food. Speaking of food, that food library was much more accurate and in-depth than I thought it would be, given that I've never heard of this app before. And I verified this with an app that I already use. It's not as intuitive when you're doing your portion sizes, but once you get the hang of what the portion sizes are, it's pretty accurate. It also gave me 28 days worth of meals to follow. Without paying for it, you can't see the recipe and probably the nutrition breakdown or serving size or whatever. That's easy enough to figure out on your own. But the fact that it even gave me the 28 days worth of meals alone was mind-blowing. So I tried the app for a day. I did the exercises that it recommended that I do. It has a fairly extensive exercise library. And it spans from like chair yoga, wall Pilates, there's kickboxing, there's at-home workouts, there's in the gym workouts. There's workouts if you're wheelchair bound. There are workouts if you are a senior. There are workouts if you have upper extremity or lower extremity limb loss. It's impressive. I really do think it's impressive. It covers a lot. So I did this app for a day. I used it. The next day, I logged into it, and there was the paywall again. So the free trial was very short. And it flashes like one time only offer, except that same offer has flashed on my screen every single time I've logged into it. But I then dug through the app to see what was still available. I can still access the fasting timer. I just have to, there's a roundabout way you have to get to it. It still shows me all 28 days of those meals. And it will still track my activity if I log a workout through the app. It also still shows me my recommended workouts for the day, but I can't click on them. Instead, I went through the library and I found the videos down there. And that's all well and good, except there's been at least one video that I couldn't find. And I don't know if it was like a subscription feature or not. I'm not sure, but the video didn't exist. So then I made sure to the following day go in and see if my daily recommended workouts changed. And for the ones that I completed the day prior, it did change again. So using the free features on the app is a little bit more time consuming and kind of a pain. I still think it's worth it to use the free features on this app, especially if you're just starting out. It's so helpful. And I can see the benefit in paying for a subscription. However, this app is not very transparent in terms of their costs and fees. I cannot find one solid answer about their subscription services. And on top of that, while trying to find the pricing data, I came across a lot of negative reviews about how people had tried to do the free trial and cancel it, but they were charged anyway, or about how people's apps were buggy and they wanted to cancel their subscription, but they couldn't get a refund. And there's just issues that people are having, mostly with the customer service and with trying to refund their money. I take a lot of negative reviews with a grain of salt, but if you're not reading it, you're not going to see it. So I'm just going to tell you what I saw. I like the app. I like the way that it's laid out. I wish that the food logging was a little bit more intuitive. But overall, if I were going to try this app for a year, I would not be upset that I spent the money on it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So we'll call that my first app review. If there's an app that you've seen advertised, blasted in your face, something that you were thinking about trying that has to do with health and fitness, let me know. This might not be something that I do on a regularly occurring basis, but this will definitely be something that I do a handful of times throughout the year, because I think it's important to make sure that if my purpose is to help people, that I do my very best to unmuddy the overwhelming amount of knowledge that exists. If you're first starting out, there's like 1,000 apps you could download. If I can get you to find one that you like or avoid the ones that you don't like, perfect. So that's episode number 6. It's short. It's random. It is what it is. So, yeah. If you're listening to this, you can like it. You can comment on it. You can follow me on social media. You can follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, I guess is what I meant to say. If you find me, follow me. with that being said, until next time.